Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alex Blend. I'm the Sustainability Coordinator for the SLI, and here we are for the SLCP meetup on November 14th, and we will be discussing collective impact. This month's meetup topic, collective impact, discusses how to incorporate the principles of social equity and find solutions to complex social issues within our libraries, whether it's finding ways to better engage with our communities, provide health, wellness, and resilience opportunities for patrons, or supporting our local organizations. Those are all different things that we can do. So we're going to learn some helpful tips shared by our fellow SLCP members, and we'll leave some time at the end to ask questions and also kind of go beyond the topic of collective impact at the end if anyone has any questions, comments about other sections within the action item form. So with that, we will move to our first featured speaker today, the director of the Millbrook Library in New York, Courtney Tsahalis is here with us. Thank you, Courtney, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited to talk about some of the stuff we've been doing.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, so I think for the collective impact part, we're about like I want to say 75% done with our certification process. And honestly, most of it is building issues, and we're working on like a huge HVAC project that should help us get pretty close to the finish line. But collective impact is like one of the things that we actually are, I think, complete with technically. So there's a couple of things that we've done under the recommended actions. And I'll just go over them before I talk about the main thing that I'm excited about. But we've done voter registration programs for at least the past 3 years on National Voter Registration Day, where we have a table outside the library right on the sidewalk. And usually it's our friends group that sits out there and has voter registration forms, information on deadlines to register to vote. Sometimes we get some swag to pass out to people, which is really fun. And this year, normally like we get like one person. This year we got 3, which was very exciting. So that's something that we just make a point to do every year and just have the table staffed all day. And it's a simple thing, but it really helps people. Um, we also have a number of really great partnerships in Millbrook. So for some context, Millbrook is a pretty rural town. Our population is just over 4,500. And I have a kind of a weird situation where I have a small town but a big library. My library is 15,000 square feet, and we have 13 staff members, 4 of which are full time. So I've kind of it wasn't that way when I started, but I've built it up so we can really focus staff time and energy on these partnerships and kind of maximizing our effort. So we have partnerships with organizations like the Millbrook Arts Group, which allows us to do a winter concert series every year. We are doing a bunch of children's programming with them this year that we got some grants for, which was really exciting. And then we work with the Millbrook Historical Society. They hold their programs here. And that's just like they're a cool group. So we've but that's kind of like nonprofit places. We've also partnered with a bunch of local businesses, including like our local bookstore, yoga place, local restaurants, our hardware store. We really make sure to try and use local businesses whenever possible, and just try to like position the library as a community helper in people's minds, and wanting to support like local businesses and local organizations. But the thing that I am really excited about is our community fridge. But I'll pause and like, am I doing okay so far? All right,
Doing
cool.
great. Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. So one of the biggest things that we've started in the past 2 years is our community fridge. And this came from a partnership with the Millbrook Rotary Club. They were really focused in around 2021, 2022 on food insecurity. And if people are familiar with Millbrook, people generally think of it as a pretty wealthy place. There's lots of estates, there's horse farms, there's definitely a lot of wealth here, but there is also a lot of like food insecurity and like living paycheck to paycheck. And we have a huge rental population in the village. Um, so people's perceptions of Millbrook are not what they actually are. And this kind of came to light during the COVID-19 pandemic, where our local diner was super awesome and they gave out free meals to people in the village. And it was one of those things where, like, when you had to sign up for it, nobody did it. But as soon as they changed it to like first come, first serve, there was like hundreds of people coming, which was kind of crazy. So they set up in the parking lot right next to my house, and the line would like go past my front door. And I was like, oh, this is a problem that I don't think a lot of people really realized until that moment. So from this, the Rotary was really focused on food insecurity. They did some panels with leaders from different food distribution organizations in our area, and they came up with the idea of doing a community fridge. And I'm part of Rotary, and I was like, hey, I've been wanting to do a community fridge at the library. Let's work together on this. So I wrote a grant to our library system. It was an outreach mini grant, and we got the funding to purchase a small refrigerator. It's about like the size of a drink refrigerator that you see in like delis and stuff. So it's not huge. It doesn't take up a huge amount of space. And we bought it, and the Rotary reached out to some organizations to sponsor it. We tried to do like a monthly sponsorship by different groups, such as like the Millbrook School District Administrative Team, the Friends of the Library did it one time, the Rotary did it. There's a couple of different organizations. And we were like, let's just see what happens. And the reaction was overwhelmingly positive at first. People were like, what is this? This is so cool. I can't believe you're doing this. And just thought it was like a really neat way to help people that they hadn't seen before in the library. So um, we've had it going, I believe that was May of 2023 we started it, and we've had it going for over a year, almost 2 years now. And there have definitely been kind of like ups and downs with it. We have a lot of people that complain about each other taking too much in their opinion, but it's usually people who are using the fridge complaining about other people using the fridge. So thankfully, like, I know a lot of them at this point. I'm like, oh no, everybody takes what's needed. And um, overall, I would say people are really good about following that. There have been like a couple cases where somebody will come in with like 3 bags and wipe it out, but thankfully that doesn't happen very often. And people have really gotten used to it and know that like they should only take what they really need and leave it for everybody else. That was probably the biggest pushback I got from community members. I was like, oh, people are just taking advantage of this, like they don't really need it. And so I had a lot of conversations about how you never know what somebody's going through, just by looking at them. And even though they might not look, doing like air quotes, like somebody that might have the need for the community fridge, like you never know what somebody's going through. So we have it so you take what you need, no questions asked. They don't need to check in at the circulation desk. There's no sign up. It's literally anybody can walk through our door and take something or leave something, which people also do. Um, but for example, we had one of the Rotary members made meals. She likes to make a lot of homemade stuff and leave it in the fridge. And we make sure like everything's labeled. We have guidelines for like allergens and stuff like that. People can't leave medicines, etc. But so she wrote her phone number on the packages just to be like, this is who made it. Call me if you have any questions. And she got a call from one of our senior patrons who was like, I can afford to buy the food, but my wife just passed away and I haven't had a home cooked meal in a really long time. And I just wanted to reach out and tell you how much this meant to me. So it was like, even though he could have technically afforded the food, the comfort of having that home cooked meal made a really big difference to him. And that was like kind of like a moment where even I was like, oh, we're doing something bigger here, which is pretty cool. So I think it's really just evolved into this sense of community care, which is my favorite part about it. And we're really lucky where our community is supportive of it. There are people that when they come into the library, they'll bring stuff just automatically, even if it's one or two things. We're very lucky where our local market in the village, Morona's Market, they donate stuff at least once a week, if not more. It's stuff that has just like passed the sell by date, but it's still perfectly good. So instead of throwing it out, they give it to us. We get a lot of bread. We get a donation of milk every month from Hudson Valley Fresh, which is super nice. So because of the support of different organizations like that, we are really able to reach out and make a big difference with this. The director of the local food pantry knows about it. She directs people here. We direct people to her. And we have things on it like pamphlets that include information on like social services in our area because we are a rural area and it's sometimes hard to know where to go. So this is like my favorite example of collective impact because I feel like we're really we wouldn't have been able to do this by ourselves. Like maybe we would have, but it definitely wouldn't have had the reach that it has had. And we couldn't have kept it going without the community support, both from individuals and organizations. So that's kind of what I've got. I'm happy to answer any questions on it. I know it was kind of a very new thing for us, but I'm really glad we tried it.
We do thank you, Courtney. That was great. We do have a question from Megan in the chat. Um, excuse me. Is the fridge inside the library? Where is it located? You may have said that, but
Yeah,
I
so
actually have the same question.
we have it inside the library. It's we have two main entrances and like people really use our side one because it's close to the parking. So we have it right by there. It's kind of right when you first walk in. It's discreet, like you don't have to interact with anybody at the circulation desk. And we did add a little bookshelf for like pantry items. So we have people that'll donate toiletries and like dried goods and things like that. So I
That's
did toy with the idea of putting it outside because I would like to make it accessible like on Sundays when we're not open, but there were a lot of concerns about animals and things like that. So
no, that's definitely very valid. Yeah, putting it outside can definitely create some unwanted issues if especially if the library's closed for sure. Are there any other questions for Courtney? Comments? I do want to say that is an awesome story. It's absolutely heartwarming. About the gentleman who was recently widowed. Yeah, that's what libraries are all about, and we're here to help our patrons. And you're right, you never know what people are going through, and to be able to add that is a really great thing, and it really shows how much that we're really doing. It's not the old model that a lot of people still think libraries are all just books and things like that. We're really doing a lot more. um, Megan has a follow-up question. Do you have any worries about homemade food? Did you have to get any city approval? That's a great question.
yeah, so we're not in a city, so we didn't have to get approval for it. Like I said, we're a really rural area with like farmland right outside of our village. We we're a little bit hesitant about homemade food, but we do have like a policy and like procedures that have to people have to follow if they're going to drop stuff off where the ingredients need to be clearly labeled. And then there's kind of an understanding like if you think this will hurt you, don't take it. So people are pretty good about like, oh, I don't know if like maybe that has garlic in it and garlic doesn't sit well with me. I won't take it type of thing. So far we haven't had any concerns. I will say too, the biggest population that uses the fridge is definitely our senior population. We have a pretty big senior population, and a lot of them are on fixed income, and they are probably the biggest users of the fridge.
That's thank you. That was great. Any other questions or comments? Let's see. Irene, our town has a community fridge outside and it has created problems with rodents. The outside fridge is harder to control with hoarding, etc. Also, people take food and resell it.
So
Yeah,
I would just say having it inside is probably the best. It's just been very tough It used to be open 24 hours and they had to stop that. And it's, so I think if it's inside, I think it's a great idea. But outside can cause unforeseen problems.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to avoid those as much as possible.
Rightly so, yeah. I also, you mentioned having the voter registration information table. That's another great thing. We do have some of those, some examples of those in the program resources on the SLI website, complete with photos of what different libraries have done, putting out information about voter registration in English and Spanish. You know, just really getting the word out to everyone. That's another great way, you know, to get awareness and help you know inform people. Also, I wanted to mention the Harbor Fields Library at this year's NYLA conference, New York Library Association conference that we just came back from last week. They did a presentation and talked about their they have kind of like a farm stand that they have their junior Friends of the Library kind of takes care of, and they leave out their what they grow in their community garden. So that's another great example. They said that it keeps growing and growing, and they kind of paired that with a like ask an expert and have somebody from like a local greenhouse be there so people can ask and kind of incorporate that with their seed library as well. So just a lot of great ideas that I heard from the Harbor Fields Library as well, kind of in that same vein. Um, any other questions or comments before we move on? All right, so with that, we will move on to our next featured speakers. From the Comsewogue Public Library, we have Library Director Debbie Engelhardt and Adult Services and Outreach Librarian Danielle Minard. Thank you both for joining us.
Glad to be here.
Yeah.
We really enjoyed Courtney's remarks and learned a few things. So Courtney, don't be surprised if you hear from us
I'd be
with
happy to help set anything up.
refrigerator questions. Thank you.
That's what this is all about. We love it.
Sounds like your community is fortunate to have you there, Courtney.
Yeah.
So I'm Debbie, as Alex said, and we are from Comsewogue Public Library. Comsewogue is a Native American name. It means the place where many paths meet. And it is the name of our school district first. The library also got the name around the same time. We are definitely the place where many paths meet, and we're here for everybody to the best of our ability. We're a medium-sized suburban public library on Eastern Long Island, and we serve about 23,000 members. There are many more potential members out in our community, and that's going to be a goal of ours for the coming year, is to move the needle on the number of people in our community who can take advantage of all the great things that all of our public libraries are doing, basically. We wanted to share that we got our certification in 2021. We, you know, got a little slowed down by COVID, and then coming out of COVID, that was a process too. And it's really exciting that our libraries have come back in such a big way. Danielle is one half of the reason we were able to get our certification, because I served as a consultant to our green team, and Danielle, along with Debbie Bush from our staff, they were the leaders of that green team, which still exists. And we activate it, I guess, on a less frequent basis now. We kind of like go after specific projects, and Danielle will tell you about where we've been and what we're up to. The whole way, we've realized that we were modeling for the community, sharing practices that they can adopt for themselves, but also showing them what their community library is capable of doing, you know, on everyone's behalf. One of the really exciting things that we did so far, and we're going to be repeating, is our Next Treks Challenge. You want to tell that? I mean, some people know what it is. And Alex, you might be called on to share a little bit too as we go along here.
Yes, I was talking to Alex pretty recently. So we did a first challenge with Next Treks. And in case you're not familiar with that program, the idea is that the community or whichever organization you are working for or with recycles plastic bags, plastic film, bubble wrap, that sort of thing. And after recycling a certain amount of pounds, Next Treks will give you a bench that's made from upcycled plastic. So we did our first challenge last year. We recycled 500 pounds of plastic that was all given to us by the community and staff as well. And that involves weighing the plastic, taking it to local stores and having them recycle it on our behalf. And we got our first bench over the summer. And after we ended the challenge, we had a lot of community members asking us if we were going to bring it back. They said that they brought the plastic to some local stores, but they didn't have the bins. It was just a very convenient location for our community to come and drop off the plastic. And so we're bringing it back. So as of January, we are starting our second challenge. This time it is for 12 months with the goal of 1,000 pounds of plastic. And STLS and Alex this time will be picking up plastic for us and bringing it to stores rather than staff here dropping it off.
Alex personally will be doing that?
Yes.
Tell us more, Alex.
So here at the Suffolk Cooperative Library System, we have two all right, I'm just not going to go off that, but we have our lending library, delivery. So when they're making their interlibrary loan deliveries to our 56 member libraries, we have a form on our website where libraries can submit and let us know how many bags they have collected, and how many pounds, and then we will go and make a stop, on those routes, that we have throughout the day, or however many times a week, depending on the need. And then, we collect it here, and then we have two partnerships, one or both with our local Home Depots, one which is in the same town, one in the next town over, and we drop off 5 bags 3 times a week to each of them, and then we also bring some to the local Stop and Shop. And funny enough that you brought that up, this morning we met with a representative from Next Treks and had a wonderful conversation. They really are a great company, and it's great to be working with them because the raw materials that they're using to create the benches are the plastics that we're taking out of the waste stream, collecting and sending it to them. And by partnering with these local retail outlets like Home Depot and Stop and Shop, we're not getting paid for it, but they are getting some money by collecting it and working with Trex. So it's a bonus for them, it's a bonus for Trex, they're getting the raw materials, bonus for the retail outlet, they're getting some money, and then we're out of the goodness of our hearts collecting and helping our member libraries with all that, getting rid of the plastic and taking it out of the waste stream. And it's just really cool. And I'm kind of what Danielle alluded to. It's like once you open that faucet, you can't really shut it off, because once you give your patrons a place that they can. And I know the Lindenhurst Public Library, Lindenhurst Memorial Library here on Long Island has also kind of dealt with this with other recycling that they've been collecting. But once you give the patrons a place where they can bring something, they're going to keep coming and keep coming. And it can get a little overwhelming, to say the least. So creating these community partnerships with Home Depot right now, we're looking to join Next Treks, their grassroots movement, and possibly be a collection site for our member libraries here in Suffolk. That might lead to a partnership with Brookhaven Town or Suffolk County. We're looking into it. This is all very new. Maybe I shouldn't be going that into detail, but it's very exciting. And like I said, the Next Treks challenge is definitely one. We have webinar that we did with a representative from Nextrex that is in our on-demand webinars resource as well. I love bringing things back to our resources, so definitely check that out. Megan asked, how do you measure how much you collected? So Nextrex provides you with, if you want, they provide you with bins. I think you can get up to 3, and it's typically, you know, it's just like a clear plastic garbage bag, and they have different kinds of, it can only be like stretchy film. It all has to be clean. It can't be, they have the specifications on the website. We can drop that in the chat for you, or we could follow up after. And then, yeah, I mean, typically the largest bags, you know, it's maybe 10, 11, 12, 13 pounds maybe is the most. And we have different scales that we use. I was started by just using like a luggage, you know, weight, what you call it?
Scale,
Just
scale.
scale. Thank you. And that worked, but there's other scales that you can use if you have, if you're weighing packages to go out to UPS or postal service, you can use those as well. And you label them, and yeah, that's I think I talked a little much about that, but I'll throw it back.
I think we might need a couple extra minutes, Alex.
What did I not touch on?
No, I mean, you know, we have to have enough time to finish our spiel here. So
Yes,
much to talk about.
absolutely.
thank you very much for that. We are excited. I was delighted with the community response to the whole Nextrex.
Yes.
You know, it was something really new for us at the time. We didn't know how it would go, and I mean, you
We've
talk
had-
about overwhelm. I don't know how you made it through that for part of the time.
We did okay. We've had great success here with all of our donations, collections, recycling, like everything that we've initiated here. We've had a great response from the community. I had heard from some other libraries that some of the plastic they got wasn't in the best condition. It was dirty. Our community was great. I was so impressed. We didn't have any stinky bags. They did so good with listening to my guidelines. So it really wasn't that hard to do. It was work to, you know, weigh all the bags and keep track of everything, but it wasn't anything overwhelming or gross, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think that reflecting on it, you know, we did some Harwood Institute community conversations at the library in years past, and it recently, I think as part of going to the New York State Conference last week, it's really gelled in my mind that it's time for us to do those again, to make sure that we're on the right track and to learn some new things, learn how we're doing. And so that's harwoodinstitute.org, and they're also on YouTube if anybody wants to familiarize themselves. But our library system, I think through our central library, was able to fund training for a bunch of us in the past. And we learned a process for convening with our community to ask them what kind of community they want to live in, what it would look like, and what it would feel like. And as part of that, the library, you know, we didn't even have to bring up the library. They brought up the library as like, hey, the library could be the community hub. And we were like, yeah, kind of is already, but yes, thank you. And even more so, right? So we knew that we were in a good place. People also said they wanted to feel more connected. And there was just an article in the Times yesterday: to fight loneliness, start with a potluck. In yesterday's New York Times, we coincidentally have a staff potluck happening here today. So I'll be hanging this in the lounge right after our meeting. For a long time, it's been an interest of mine in hosting a community dinner, which I hadn't seen take place elsewhere, where there's just like tables to infinity and chairs outdoors and members of the community sharing a meal together. That's something that I'm really interested in reviving. We'll see if we can get there. But we've had more community large-scale celebrations since we learned that from our public. We've had some big outdoor anniversary celebrations on our 50th and our 55th. And now we have a large community summer kickoff every year. We also have other things that bring people together, but not in as big a way, I guess, all in one time. People wanted to be with their neighbors, even if they didn't yet know their neighbors, and that was for all ages. So it's a lot of work. We think it's worth it. we wanted to just bounce back a little bit to share what we looked at our form when we worked on our collective impact for certification. And like a lot of libraries, we support local vendors by paying them to come and do programs for us for all of our audiences. Some of them are full-time, large-scale businesses like the Baking Coach. Some of them are individuals, right, who we find to come in and share a skill, maybe like a one-off. And then we had some for-profit partnerships. Do you want to share any of that?
Yeah, sure.
Or maybe just we listed one example.
Where is it on this?
Oh, the for-profit partnerships with the battery recycling program that we're
Okay.
doing.
So, yeah, so for, this kind of ties back to Next Treks a little bit because we have a scale already in the library that we would use to weigh batteries because we have a partnership with a battery recycling company called Serba. So we collect batteries that are dead, used, old on behalf of our community, includes AA, AAA, and then some bigger ones, D, that sort of thing. And we collect them all and we send them through Serba and they are recycled at a facility. So we weigh those as well, which is what reminds me of the scale. What are some other local partnerships that are for profit?
We have a lot of nonprofit
We
ones.
have a lot of nonprofits.
We do summer reading club prizes for the kids. Those are all coming from local businesses. They support us in a big way. And then they get a great big thank you in print from us. Looking back at the original certification, I'm also part of Rotary and that was a recommendation. So go Rotary, Courtney. And, you know, or other service clubs, and we participate in the chamber meetings, and our library hosts the civic meeting every month, and we always have representation there. So that's helped to forge relationships with our elected officials, our local governments, and it helps them to think of us when they have an idea, like the Bike Borrow initiative that we started a few weeks ago, where we are lending bikes that come to us for free. We're lending them for free to cardholders or members for 2 weeks' time. They do sign a waiver. And we have a great story, Alex. I mean, we haven't had a ton of bikes go out yet. It's just been a handful. But there was one person who didn't know about the program, and they had a job interview coming up in our area that day. They took a bus, got to the library early, and figured they would walk to the interview from here, saw the sign that there were bikes available, and were able to ride the bike to their job interview.
That's amazing. That's something that we had talked about like that first day when Paul was coming down, that people could use it to get to their job or a job interview. That's amazing.
Yeah. So we're excited to be the first public library in our county, and I know that you did a nice press release that's on the website about it. And we're just, you know, we're going for that ride, Alex, and we're seeing where it takes us.
Yeah, absolutely.
We wanted to just zip through. We know our time is almost done, but like where we are now and what we've been up to lately, Danielle's been at the forefront of helping us to address some complex social issues like hunger, health, you know, general social support and things like that.
Yeah, we have a partnership with a local university, Stony Brook University, if you're from around here. So we have a social work intern that comes to us every semester. It's a new student. They are mid in their degree, and this is one of their placements for their internships. And it's been so great to have an intern here to provide services that otherwise patrons ask us. And we can provide some information. We have some resources and referrals, but the social work intern is able to provide such more detailed, individual, ongoing one-on-one assistance to people who need it. And a lot of the things that they've been helping with is focused on housing, affordable housing, homelessness, food insecurity, and benefits applications. So they've been a great asset. And in conjunction with the social work intern, Stony Brook University also sends nursing students to us maybe every other month as well. So it's a registered nurse as well as a nursing student, the social work intern, and maybe one or two other students that specialize in different areas. And they just set up in our lobby and just are available for patrons to come up and seek referrals, seek health assistance, get doctor referrals. So that's been a great partnership for us. Debbie before mentioned the Chamber of Commerce, and I just wanted to mention that if you have a Chamber of Commerce, they are a great partner. They reached out to us and asked us to attend one of their speed networking events, and they were so warm and welcoming and so happy to have us there. They really did support the library, so it was great to make that connection. Some other, let's see, other networking. We have a a career counselor that
Mhm.
comes in and provides assistance with resume forming, as well as writing cover letters and seeking jobs. We have counselors who come in to provide assistance with various health forms, Medicaid, health insurance, as well as a senior advocate to provide referrals for seniors.
Mhm.
Lots of nonprofit partnerships.
Danielle also attends the local police precinct meeting every month. There's a community meeting, and so that helps to build the relationship. And so we have ongoing activities we do with our COPE unit, community oriented.
I don't remember what
Cope.
COPE stands for.
COPE. I had it before. And so they do coffee with a cop sessions with us, but they also come and participate in drives with us, and we know that they're there if we have any problems. We have their cell numbers, and they respond right away. We ask for advice about things. So just to finish out, I think we offer a lot of DIY type things, like repair cafes on an ongoing basis, teaching people how to grow things.
Yes, we have a seed library that has been a great success for the past 3 or 4 years that we've done it. We have thousands of seeds packaged every season, and they're gone within 2 months. It's been a great response. We haven't had any issues with it, which, knock on wood, I'm very happy to say so far. And last summer, we launched an aero garden. So now, in addition to the seed library, we have that hydroponic garden, which we hope will educate our community on the garden itself, and also encourage sustainable practices and growing their own vegetables.
And some of the herbs from the aero garden go to feed our guinea pigs. They live in the children's department. And then just finally, I think, Danielle, if we talk about just, the fact that we are stepping up our tech education efforts, continuing to let people know about ways they can maybe get a better job by using Universal Class or doing a job fair. We also have a volunteer fair, which can help people learn new things, but also not feel as isolated. So there you are. And our library of things is going great guns in terms of the, the technology and people taking it home that's up 14% in its circulation this year. So we're going to keep throwing money that way too.
Absolutely. That's great. A lot of great things happening over at Comsewogue. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Debbie and Danielle, or comments, or?
Well, you guys can find us easily enough. As
And
long as you can spell Comsewogue, you're good.
I did want to something that kind of
Thank you, Megan.
something that something you said kind of sparked a thought with me. Partnering with Stony Brook University definitely is a great, powerful relationship. I know at the library that I previously worked at, they had a partnership with Toro Law School, and would have law students come in and have, I guess, their professors as well kind of come in and help people with kind of the basic kind of law questions that they might have. So if in your community or nearby there's a university or a college that deals with law, that could be another great way to help your patrons out. It was always very well attended.
We're also, as you're aware, we're located close to 3 excellent community hospitals, or 2 community hospitals, 1 university hospital. So we are trying to leverage those relationships everywhere we can.
Yeah.
And also, they're thinking of libraries more these days. I don't think they had a full awareness. So there's that education opportunity too.
Absolutely. That's very, very good point. Very good point. Is there anybody that would like to share about their library's collective impact, what they've kind of done, different initiatives they may have started, or anything similar that you've heard here today? We could also open it up to other sections of the action item form if there's any maybe questions that folks might have had or have about anything in particular. while everyone's thinking about that, I'm gonna just talk a little bit more about some great things that our certified libraries have doing. Kinderhook Memorial Library, upstate New York, has a really strong, community connections. They have a program with their local supermarket where they do Meatless Mondays, a nice campaign there. They do story time with the local firehouse. So again, getting like Debbie had mentioned, having the COPE officers come in and, getting the teens and community members familiar with those people, with police officers, with firefighters is a great way to kind of, form a bridge and build relationships that way. Um, that way they're not such maybe scary figures, as they can be to some. um, it's just great establishing those bonds with these kind of external organizations can really be a win-win for both the public library and your for-profit and nonprofit businesses. Irene, you have your hand raised, go ahead.
Hi, completely changed tracks a little bit. I'm having a little trouble with the print relief. At least I don't know if I'm having trouble, but what's happened is we signed up in January and I loaded in what we had bought, and I don't know if things changed or not, but now when I enter how much paper we buy through the SLI website, I get a certificate, but it's for the same amount that we did in January. Am I doing something wrong or?
So you're using the form on the bottom of the homepage, right? Report your paper purchases.
Well, I don't
Assume-
remember where I got it, but you click on the link for print relief in
So
the action plan.
okay.
In the action items. Should I go to the bottom of the?
If you go to the bottom of the web page,
Okay.
the homepage, let's see.
Alex, you should probably just set up a separate Zoom meeting with Irene I mean, this is very specific to making
True.
this thing work.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank
So
you.
you're probably better off so that you can connect with her and show her on your screen and do it offline with her. Just answer that one, individually. It'll just be more productive.
Yeah, that's
Well,
fine.
Irene, what is your library?
Maplewood, New Jersey, Maplewood Memorial Library.
Gotcha. All right, I'll reach out after.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
No problem. Laura Smith wrote in the chat, one of our branches located very close to our refineries here in Houston, in the Houston area, recently partnered with Texas Tribune, an independent newspaper, to host an event focused on air quality in the Houston Ship Channel. Most of it was focused on how to monitor air quality, how to report events, and how to advocate for the community. They also hosted a week-long program for kids, teaching them how to monitor air quality as well. That's a very great, very nice partnership, and Laura added the link there to the Texas Tribune article. Thank you for sharing that, Laura. Very unique and productive partnership. Any other comments, questions, collective impact stories that anyone would like to share before we close out?
I would just like to share that I would just like to thank you, Alex, for inviting me to take part in this, because it's excellent every now and again to sort of be forced to go back and reflect on the journey, because every time I do it, it gets me all revved up again. And not only that, but it's an excellent way to kind of like create a history of our program. And so, when you're in the thick of it, it's hard to be disciplined, to find the time to consider the impact, and I would like to find better ways to measure our collective impact. I'm sure there are some ways I'm just not aware of that I can incorporate. But so thank you very much for the opportunity to be here.
No, thank you for saying that, and thank you for being here. Joanna, your hand's up. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm gonna share something not that we did. I work for a library system, so I'm gonna share what one of our member libraries is doing that I think is really cool. They partnered with their local brewery, which is just a couple blocks away, and they've been doing some really phenomenal programs. So for Library Card Cider Month, the library hosted trivia, the brewery's trivia night, and also had a library card sign up drive. So if someone signed up for a library card during trivia, they would get a free beer at the brewery. And they have just continued this partnership. So this month they're doing a book drive. I don't know exactly how it's structured. It's actually today. And if people can buy books at the brewery for themselves, and then I think the way it works is that a book will also go to the library. And they're just doing things like that every month. So I think that's a really cool business for-profit partnership that they've developed.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. I know down here on Long Island, there's a number of libraries that have partnered similarly with local breweries or restaurants to do things. I haven't quite heard it like that. That's very a great way to kind of do that. Thank you for sharing. Tara Ling added in the chat, she's from Rewild, Long Island. They present library programs, and she dropped in links to their website grant program for community libraries. So if anybody is interested, there's links in the chat to Rewild, Long Island. Any other questions, comments, stories that anyone would like to share?
Alex, I will say that I did try the Sand City beer that they partnered with Lindenhurst Memorial Library, and they called the beer Overdue. That was the name of the beer, and it was like a wit beer, and they sold it through the library, and also you could go to the brewery and people were buying it and had their logo on it and the story of why and how they partnered with the library. So it was a great way for them to connect with maybe not so usual library users, but it was a connection point, for them. It was really, really cool.
That is really cool. Thank you, Roger. That I didn't know about that. That's a really cool way. Maybe unorthodox. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but yeah, absolutely, to kind of connect with those that you may not normally, it may not normally be coming into the library regularly. It's a good way to get new
Made a
patrons.
point to visit that library just so that I could stop by the brewery and support the efforts.
Yeah, we have a brewery in the area, Roger, so I better see you there if we do this.
If you do it, I'm there. Just let me know.
Very good. Very good. All right. If there's no other questions, or if nobody else has anything to share, we will call it. And our next SLCP meetup will be Thursday, December 5th, 1 p.m. Eastern. I look forward to seeing you all there. And thank you again, Debbie. Thank you, Courtney. Thank you, Danielle, for sharing, and for everyone that shared. Appreciate it, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks.
Thank you. Take care.